Greetings, dear Star Sisters. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. My partner steps away. The question is often the same. The group of women before me have assembled for many reasons. But there is always one that you're uncertain about. Was I a Lemurian? Have I ever been part of this before in any other place, in any other time? But the numbers continue to grow. There is something here that is beyond wondering. There are some who are certain and they feel something they cannot identify. We have spoken of Lemuria many times, and we've talked about some of the facts, and they don't change. But Lemuria was there for a very long time. We've also told you that you do not reincarnate into Lemuria. It's almost like an Akashic launching pad. Many, if not all, might have been there, but not together. Very few of you would have ever been there together. So you're not recognizing one another at all. If you have that recognizing ability, that which would be perhaps partly multidimensional, you call it psychic, what are you here for? Some will say, well, I came because I like the camaraderie of being with my own gender. There's just something so sweet about being with others just like me. And when women get together in this way, I want to be part of it. There is a little of that. But dear ones, there is something more. The very words Lemuria haven't changed much. Even though they did not speak English in Lemuria, still, the very word of the mountain itself and the small continent that existed sounded very much like Lemuria. In the ancient maps, it's called Mu, as in Lemuria. And so there is a commonality of the names and the sounds. Some of you recognize it. Some of you relate to it. There would be a few of you who got chills when you heard it. I want to tell you a little bit about the system that exists, that is there, that is starting to evolve. And the system I want to tell you about is the way that you absolutely will know who you've been and where you've been. Is that a possibility? So I turn to something that has happened to my partner, for he can then describe it. And since he has been there, this particular thing that I'm about to tell you resounds with truth. When he was in certain parts of India, he got to be involved in something that he was told about at the highest level. Dharamshala is where the chief, if you would say, of all of the monks lives. You call him the Dalai Lama. Underneath his tutelage, there is a system of hierarchalness, which is the position of the monks, who they are, why they're there, and how important they are. Now, in a traditional organization, you would say, well, normally they would study, they would be appointed, the senior ones would be elevated, and it's a system. And that's not how it works at all, not even close. Instead, there is something more. Get ready for this one if you didn't know it. At a very young age, some children are sensed to be different. They are sent to the monasteries to be examined. And in the examination, you will have a shamanic-like monk combined with the others come forward and read their Akash. Now here in your land, you call it past life readers. They're not. They're past life examiners. And what they're looking for are those who have gone through enough of an enlightenment process that they would be the leaders of the Buddhists that would come to Dharamshala. And there are far and few between that are looked at and selected. But if they are selected, they are immediately removed from their families at the age of 8, and they stay in the monastery and begin their training. By the time they're in their young teens and on into their 20s, they're sent overseas. They learn multiple languages. And in that, you start to see they were right. Because these who ascended to the important positions in Buddhism are almost like they lived for it. They're bred for it. Seldom are there any mistakes. Highly intelligent, esoteric, beautiful men. So I rewind this. The Akashic examiner, what is he looking at? Is there a system? Does he do it all through his intellect? Or that is his intuition? What is he looking at? And now I present to you this. Every single human has a field. It has been identified, oddly enough, by a Jewish word, Merkaba, or Merkaba. It is the field that you ride in, literally. The word in Hebrew means to ride. You ride in this field. It is a large one, and it is filled with information. It is not until someone can develop a multiple dimensionality instrument that you'll even begin to be able to see it. But there are certain humans who can. What if they would look at yours? What if the examiner looked at yours? So here I'll tell you. Your Akash is in the field. It's in the Merkaba. And if you were Lemurian, that means you were the first on the planet. Some of the original ones. And that will show so clearly. Anyone who can read a Merkaba will see that first. First. Because you were the ones who actually met the ones from the stars. And there's not that many human beings who hold that. And that is seeable in the Merkaba. Next question, in this new energy, do you think it's at all possible to sense that in the Merkaba? And the answer is yes. Some of you are sensing not only that you are Lemurian, but others around you were there too. What does it mean if this is the case? First of all, it's validation. It isn't all esoteric. You carry it with you. It can be seen. The examiners in that land would know it. They might not know all about it, but oh, they would sense it. By the way, this is what they look for in an ascended Master Buddha as they grow and as they become part of that which will be what they call the ascended masters. Monks who ascend to a place where they might even be in line someday for something even bigger. They would see you and they would know it. I see you and I know it. Congratulations, ladies. You've done well to know it, because seated in front of me, indeed, are many Lemurians. They're all over the world, you know. Lemuria was there a long time. There are so many souls who were born there, met the star teachers, and moved on. But the select ones, of course, are the women, because the teachers were the women, and the things that they did was teach women. There's a story behind that. We've given it many times. We've given it over and over. But right now, even before we leave, what is it that it means to you? If you were a Lemurian, ever, is it possible in this new energy that the very original teachings, the very beauty of meeting the star teacher itself, would come forward to you? And you'd know it. Let me tell you, it's more than just a sign in your Merkaba, because in your Akash is still the teaching. I want to close this on a note. The system of genders goes back and forth. All of you have been men. All the men have been women. But we've said before that in this new energy, it is no error or mistake that most of the women that started in Lemuria and alive now are women again. So that you would begin to recognize your lineage and take the power of wisdom. But there are still a few men on this planet who used to be part of a sisterhood when their gender was different. There's a few of them, and they stick out. They stick out because of the magnificence of their messages. In India, my partner met one, and he held his hand, and he knew, I am holding hands with a Lemurian sister. And that was the Dalai Lama. It takes something like this to really bring it home, to understand that the shamanship belongs with the gentle sex, that the best teaching of any human should come from the mother. That is what the human is used to, wants to hear. The gentle, compassionate, benevolent voice of the mother is what you grow up with, no matter what the gender. It's only natural that this would be the one to give you the star information, to set the mold for compassion. It belongs with you. This is the message. It's why you're here. The practicalness of it is to grasp it and relive that which you were taught. And understand that what you carry is a mantle of responsibility for compassion to the planet, not just to your children. Compassion to the planet, to those around you, because you know how to do it. You were born with this, Mom. Those of you without children experienced it with your mothers, especially in the original years. Born to understand compassionate action and benevolence. That's who you are. There's many of you. And as this grows and the system grows, you will meet together. And still, you will not have a situation where many of you were together in one generation, because Lemuria lasted thousands of years. You came and you went, and you came and you went, and what you have in common is that you were there. The launching pad for your Akash began there. The Star Sisters who taught you remained there. They didn't die. That's simply part of that which is a system of biology that you don't have yet. Some of them are still here. It's a lot to think about. Rekindling the compassion that you learned in a practical way for life. That's what the sisterhood is for. And so it is.